Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and this is just a quick vid to say I'm back. I'm back from China. I've been back about a week now, but I've been so mad busy. This is the first time I've actually had a chance to sit down and make a video and well, show you what I've been tell you what I've been up to. Yeah, I've been in China for nearly a month, seeing my girlfriend and visiting, seeing what China's like. So that's been quite interesting. We toured Italy before then. Love Italy. Hired a little Fiat 500 in Rome and drove that to Milan. That was a great deal of fun. If anyone's ever driven in Rome before, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was quite exciting, that. But anyway, I'm back to work, back in the UK, and I thought I'd do this quick vid to show a few of the things that I've bought while I was over in China. Obviously I was not doing a lot during the days because my other half was at work, and I was in a little rented apartment with not many amenities. Nice enough little place. But I had my laptop there, so I was doing some design work and doing a few bits and bats I could do just using my laptop, and spending an awful lot of time on eBay. So I will just show you a few of the little things that I've bought while I was on my holidays on eBay, and they were all waiting for me when I got back to the UK. The first thing was I actually decided to buy myself a proper nice anti-static mat, and that's going to come in sooner than I thought, because I went and visited my friend and got presented with them to repair. We've got a Sony Xperia phone, but the power connector's gone on, so that's going to be a fun one to. That's for one of her housemates who said it doesn't matter if I can't get it working, but he took it to a phone shop and they said they don't touch Sonys, so he asked me whether I could have a look at it before he goes and buys a new phone, so I'll be having a look at that. At the same time, my friend's boyfriend managed to kick his Samsung Galaxy 4 Tab off the bed, and as you can see, smashed the digitizer on it. It is actually only the digitizer that's broke. If you look, it does actually fire up and it all works. It's just the thing's smashed. So I don't really usually do modern technology like this, but as it's for a friend and all that, so today a new, I shouldn't show that, it's got my address on it, a new digitizer arrived for it. So yeah, I do like the tools you get with these now. Get a proper decent spodger to get in there, rather than that cheap nasty plastic thing you used to get. It used to be like a guitar pick you used to get with most of these kits. This is a bit more substantial, so they're quite good. And then we have the new digitizer itself. So I'll be watching a few YouTube tutorials. I've not actually done one of these Tab 4s before. I've done some Samsung stuff, some Samsung phones in the past, but I've never done one of these before. So yeah, that's going to be one of my upcoming jobs. I just thought I'd show you that, seeing it was in shop, I think. I bought myself a new anti-static strap as well, for the like £2 it cost delivered, because as you can see the lead on my old one, after probably 25 years, I've had this literally since I was like 10 or 11 I think I got this, and yeah, it's had it. So that can go in the bin. I will of course save the crocodile clip off it. That can go in the bin, and I've got myself a nice new one there. Put that to one side. Now let's have a look what we're going to do. I know someone commented on my last video about quality of camera. Well, I can assure you, hopefully that's going to be improved. Because while I was over in China, I spotted this on eBay. I managed to get it for a fair price. It's Samsung little HD solid state camera. It's got an optical zoom on it, so I should get some much better shots with this than I can with the little flip that I'm using at the moment. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I paid £50 for that delivered, with all its accessories and everything. So the next video I make, I will be using that, and hopefully we'll get a little bit better quality out of it. Because it came with its bag and charger, it come with 32 gig SD card, which turns out it's a micro SD and an adapter, but never mind. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that for £50. I also, like I said, I had a lot of time doing not much on eBay. I picked myself that up. It's an old Dell. I'm not exactly 100% sure on the exact model of it, but it's a Latitude E4310. It's an ex-schools one. It's actually got a private school's emblem laser etched into the cover. i5 processor, 2.8 gigs, so it's not a uber super fast i5 processor. But it's better than anything I had. It'll replace my old Toughbook, which is it's slowly dying. It's got a fault where it keeps coming up undetected USB device, even when there's not a USB device plugged into the thing. And the battery's not very good on it anymore, and I think the hard drive's probably at about its limit. It's only a 60 gig hard drive. But no, I picked this up. Like I say, it's 2.8 gig i5 processor, 4 gig of RAM, 240 gig hard drive. And because of the cosmetic issue that it's got that laser etched thing in it, I only paid £70 for it with the charger, which I thought was a bit of a bargain for an i5. It's not in 100% fantastic condition. It's missing a little nub off the glide point thing from in there, and there's a little crack on the case there. The things that I can probably get the parts off eBay cheaply enough, perhaps find a replacement nub or even a replacement keyboard for it. Possibly find this plastic and replace that, because that's the only bit of plastic on it. The rest of this is all metal. It's nice. It's a really nice laptop actually. It's a nice size for what I want. So I was quite pleased to pick that up for 70 quid. And it's got the Windows 7 license key on it. It did come with Linux on it, but like I say, I took that off straight away and put Windows 7 back on it. I will put the 64-bit version on as soon as I can find my copy of it. But the 32-bit version on there at the moment. So yeah, I picked that up. And not off eBay, but off one of the Facebook groups I frequent, I spotted these. Now what we've got here, bear in mind these were sold as spares or repair, and a chap called Rob, he does up in Oldham, which isn't far from me. He has a little computer. He sells reconditioned old vintage computers and things like that, and various spares and stuff. He's an active member on a few of the Facebook groups, and he put these up for sale. Now what these are, now I believe they've come from a shop that they were brought in as faulty. I think they were sold to me as faulty, but so they're still in the polystyrene inserts, and if we actually look at them, I really don't think they've had any use at all. If they have, it's been very, very, very little. Now they were originally for the BBC. They would have been in a case, these together. And they also come with, this was all connected up, I just took it apart to make it easier to work with. They came with the power lead for the 2 drives and the connector to go in the back of a beeb. And they came with a cable with the 2 connectors for the drives on it there. And then a connector for the back of the BBC. Now, for that whole lot, for the 2 drives, for the cable, and well, I can't really say that's much use to me now, perhaps if I do a beeb one up. I paid a tenner for the lot, which I thought was an absolute bargain, because I mean that cable's worth a £5 on its own. Look at this nice long one. That'll probably get used on a an Amstrad 6128 or a Spectrum Plus 3 for a 3.5-inch external drive, which I keep promising I'm going to make a video about making a proper one of them up and show everyone how it's done. So that's in for a future video. I might use that one. But what I did find when I was disconnecting them all, if you look at this connector here, how well that's going to show up on this camera. It will definitely show up on my new one. Let me see if I can get this in shot. if you look, there's some pins mashed there, and one of them pins is actually bent right over and it's shorting like 3 or 4 of the other pins out inside. Now I'm wondering whether this was returned for that very fault, that one of the drives wasn't reading or both drives weren't reading. And it's actually that cable that's at fault, and there's nothing wrong with these drives. So I'll be getting one of these fired up. I bought these for a future project. They're single-sided. I think they're probably single density, single-sided. They might be double density, I'm not sure. I've not brought the specs up of them yet. But they're single-sided, probably 40, yeah, probably our single density, 40 track BBC drives. These are made by Tandon, who made a lot of the early disc drives, and they're built like a battleship. They're absolutely bulletproof mechanically. They very rarely go wrong. If they do, it's just hardened grease in here, dirty heads, things like that. So these will be given a good clean up, and I'll test, and they're probably going to get used in an up and coming project. So, which brings me on to what I bought next. Now, as you might have seen from some of my other videos, I quite like messing with some of the old Soviet Spectrum clones, and I couldn't resist myself. I went buying again. So we've got these 2 boxes. These are both from the same seller. Actually, I've just realised that I've not deleted his name off that one. Let's just get rid of his name there. I thought I'd got rid of his name, but there we go, that's gone. Hopefully no one saw that. Anyway, yeah, he sells on. He's a member of another one of the Facebook groups, which has got a lot. It's all about vintage Soviet Spectrum clones and other Spectrum clones from around the world. And he's also an eBay seller. He's out in the Ukraine and comes across quite a lot of this old Soviet stuff and sells it on eBay. And we'll start with this one. I spotted this. I didn't actually realise it was the same chap selling it until someone pointed it out. But I spotted this on eBay and I put an offer in for it. And let's open it up and see what we've got. Okay. Oh, he did say he was going to. This is quite interesting. He said he was going to include some of these in the package. Well, let's get rid of the box. Nice and well packed anyway. Plenty of bubble wrap. That means it's going to be a nightmare to get into. Ah, here we go. Well, these are quite cool. These are 1960s, I think he said. Russian computer cards. So they'll go. I'll find something to do with them. I'll put them somewhere. We'll stay up there for now. So let's get in this package. Yeah, maybe this is very well taped up. Just excuse me a minute. Right, that's one layer off, I think. Ah, well, we're into the book. So we have an owner's manual. Rather nice. Yeah, mate. There is literally miles and miles and miles of bubble wrap around this. Dear me. I certainly didn't want that to get damaged in the post. I mean, literally. piles of bubble wrap round it. That's how to do it. And here we go. I believe they're known as a CIFA. I'm not sure that might be right. It's something like that anyway. But yes, this is a Russian or a Soviet Sinclair clone. Apparently it's quite a rare one. It's not one of your common ones. It's not a Leningrad board in it or anything like that, like my Delta S, which turned out to be a Leningrad in a Delta S case, which I am working on still, but I fancied something that hadn't been messed with, and this is pretty much complete. I did buy it as untested, simply because it didn't have the power supply to try it with, so I will have to ascertain what voltage it needs and make it up a suitable power supply. But yeah, it's in really nice condition. Not bashed up at all. It's got the same hideous Soviet screw, like self-tapping screws that the Delta S case I have is fixed together with, and the same here. I presume that's the reset switch. Is that a power switch maybe? I'll have to find out, and then I presume we've got joystick and tape and video out. I believe he said that that is the power connector, so we'll see about that. But yeah, so I have another Soviet Spectrum clone to play with. And from the same seller, this is yet another Soviet Spectrum clone. Or rather, one and a bit Soviet Spectrum clones. What we've got in here, when I finally get into the box, there we go. Ooh, packing this time. Oh well, we have a cassette tape with, quite interestingly, because the tape's in Russian, that's in Russian, ZX Spectrum, and then all the names of the games are in English. But right, so we've got a we'll see if there's anything on that. We can see if we can play that. We will get to them in due course. But what we have, again, apart from this one being absolutely covered in little bits of foam as well, we seem to have another rather well wrapped computer. Yes, here we go. Yeah, about the same amount of bubble wrap as around the other one. So I certainly won't be short of bubble wrap for a little while. But we have this. Now this is not in pristine condition, but this is a Oriole BK08. Believe it or not, you can still buy these absolutely brand new from a seller, I think in Ukraine or in somewhere in former Soviet Union. Has got a warehouse full of these, and I think they're about 79 quid. I didn't pay anything like that for this one. You pay 79 quid, and then there's about £50 postage on that as well, because they come with rather heavy mains transformer, 24 volt mains transformer, which this one didn't have with it. And to be honest, I can make a mains transformer for it. That's not a problem. It was the computer I was more interested in. Because I'm challenged myself with designing a disk interface to work with this. Basically, while I was away in China and I was bored, I was looking at various Soviet Spectrum clones, and they did a disk upgrade card for this. It literally just slotted in the expansion port there. And I managed to find the circuit diagram for it and realised it wouldn't be too hard to recreate now. And as these computers are still available. I thought they may, of all the Spectrum clones out there, this would be the one that's probably the more market for actually a aftermarket disk drive controller for. So I'm in the process of designing that at the moment. I just need to get the boards sent off and get some boards spun. I can knock a couple of the prototypes up. There's still a few issues I've got, like with the connector for down in there and a few other very minor issues. But that project's coming in, and obviously to do that project I really needed the computer to do it on. Now it's not working. I do know it is a faulty one. But at the same time, and for not very much more than I paid for, well, for a lot less, well, for less than I paid for that, and considering he included the postage for the two, he sold me this. Now, again, it's rather well packed in bubble wrap, which I think we'll get it out of. It's probably not the best thing to wrap something like this in, but never mind. Let's see what we can do here. This is going to be a video of lots of me unwrapping stuff. I can't be bothered to edit it. It's just a quick heads up. Now I've got my new i5 and my new camera, I might actually start doing some proper editing on some of these. I know I keep threatening to do it, but I don't really like sitting in my office at night. I'd rather sit down on the settee or sit up in my workshop, and that's the only room I've got that's got a powerful enough computer really. But let's see what I'm doing here now. Dear me. You might want to fast forward this bit. Right, okay, we're in. Dear me. So anyway, what we have is we have a spare main board and a spare power supply board for the Oriole B here. Now I'm not sure whether I'm even going to bother using the power supply board. What this does, it takes 24 volts DC in there, and I think it probably gives out don't know how many wires are there. It probably gives out 12 volts, 5 volts, minus 5 volts, possibly minus 12 volts, I don't know. So yeah, we have a step down power supply, so 24 volts in, and that gives you your requisite voltages for the computer. I bought these purely so I had some spares that I could pillage if there was anything that was particularly rare or unique to these computers. I could obviously pillage it off this spares board. Again, he doesn't know whether this works at all. It looks, I know about that, that's where he took the keyboard off, because I said I didn't want the keyboard. But it's got the processor in it, it's got a set of ROMs in it, it's got the RAM in it if I felt inclined to pull the RAM off. It's got lots of strange bits of, I don't know whether they're test points or what, or whether they used to be capacitors. But it's got lots of bits sticking up off it. But like I said, it's going to be useful for pillaging parts off. But yeah, here is my Oriole BK08. I said it's not in the finest conditions, but hopefully I will have two Soviet computer projects on the go soon. I'm not sure which one I'm going to start first. I'd be tempted to start that one because it's the rarer of the computers, but I suppose I should really get this one working first, so then when I do get on with my disk interface project, I've got something to actually test it on. Yeah, spacebar seems to stick down a bit, so I'll need to address that. apart from that, a really good clean and possibly a retro bright, and it'd start looking fairly decent again. Like I said, I will build a 24 volt power supply, test that board, test the board inside here. I'm suspecting it may be a power supply board issue actually, because he was saying that when you plug the power supply into it, even the light isn't coming on. So hopefully the main board's fine in it, and it's just a power supply board issue. But we will address that in due course. So I've rambled on for far too long now. It was just meant to be a quick video to show you where I was up to and what I was doing. I will be getting back on with some of the other Spectrums and showing some other things in due course as soon as I get the time to do it. So I will leave it at that. Thanks for watching for that ramble, and goodbye.